Welcome to I'll Be There, the ultimate wedding podcast by Priya
and Nim
from Pristine Events. Whether you're a bride-to-be
or a groom gearing up
or just a wedding lover at heart, we've got you.
Welcome back to another episode of I'll Be There. I'm Nim.
I'm Priya.
And today, following on from last week's episode about kids at weddings, we're going to be discussing your opinions on kids at weddings. We put out to the masses, to our lovely listening audience, what they've felt about kids at weddings and their opinions about weddings they've been to or they've had themselves and how they've navigated the issue of children at weddings.
Yeah. So we're just going to go straight in.
Mm-hmm.
It's all a mix of like opinions, things people have seen. So it will just be in a bit of a random order, but we'll just go in and we'll hear your hot take on it. And
Our
mine.
hot take.
And mine, but mainly yours.
Okay.
Okay, someone said, when I went to a wedding, a 5-year-old was running around and knocked over the cake. After that, I decided no kids at mine.
Yeah, interesting. That's always the thing that we worry the most about.
Yeah. If you see us at a wedding and you see there's a champagne tower, a cake, anything that's in the middle of the dance floor, you will see 1 or 2 members of our team guarding, especially if there's kids.
Yeah, that's the thing that you worry about the most because it's something that's like generally unmanned.
Yeah.
And for the most part, this cake is normally quite large, expensive, intricately made, was only assembled on the dance floor itself because it was so delicate.
Yeah. And
annoyingly, probably for us, but great for photo, video and the general aesthetic, is that they're normally on a perspex see-through table.
Yes.
So it looks invisible. So these 5-year-olds, bless them, they probably... Well, they might have seen the cake, but they probably haven't seen the table. So they just sort of like running into
around,
it. And we've seen it where they've knocked over other things. I've never personally seen a cake being knocked over.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that's because we're guarding it with our lives.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sounds like most people's worst nightmare in terms of what a kid or a child could do at a reception.
But on that note, and I'm not trying to parent shame, again, we don't have kids, so we're not in those shoes. But why are they running around on the dance floor? The couple haven't even entered yet. Everyone's been told to take their seats. But without fail, 9 times out of 10, the weddings we go to where there are children, there will be 2 or 3 just on the dance floor. Sometimes they bring their toys on. They've got their truck. They're just like, roaming around with that. Then they're running around the cake, under the table. Like, I don't understand why they're even there in the first place and why it has to be us and the DJ announcing to be like, please, like, parents come and take them.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I understand that kids will be kids and, they might want to play in things. But my view is that they should be doing these things in the vicinity or eyesight of the parents.
Yeah.
What often happens where it becomes frustrating for us or makes our job difficult is where they're on the dance floor. And that is where I just, that is like the stage, right, for the wedding.
Like, why are they there?
So why, that's
I don't
kind
get
of...
it. Like, even if they're not in their seats, why are they in the middle of the hall and the couple haven't even come in yet? And also, I'm sure you would have had a wedding at some point, however many years before. So you also know, like, please don't just put your children anywhere near the cake, the champagne tower. I don't understand it. So yeah, I think the moral of the story is please keep your kids in their seats.
Yeah, because you're ruining it for other couples who might want to invite kids to their wedding.
Yeah.
But now they're like, I don't want to risk it.
Yeah. Yeah, so true. Like, this person maybe had it on their agenda to invite kids, and then that's what changed their mind.
Exactly.
Okay. This person said, our son wasn't invited to a wedding reception that we got invited to. We didn't mind at all. A night off from parenting.
Yeah,
Love
see, that goes back to what we said in last week's episode, where I said, look, if you have the facilities and the resources to be able to put your child up somewhere for the night, i.e. with a parent, with an au pair, with someone you hopefully know, then great. I think most people would be like, and the child doesn't have attachment issues. Yeah. I think most people would be pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
Because, everyone loves their children, but also everyone loves their life before they had children as well.
Yeah, so it's nice to
have a little nice to kind of have
glimpse into that.
Yeah, 12 hours of living in the past.
And then a reality of a 5 a.m. wake up from your child the next day. Someone said, as we had close family, we made it a kid-friendly wedding. They could make their own pizza. We had chips for them. It made the kids happy.
Yeah. Again, like we said last week, so if you've got immediate family with lots of small children or close friends with lots of small children, then I think that might then change your opinion on how you want your wedding to be. Mm-hmm. Because if you know it's going to be difficult for them to keep their kids elsewhere, or you're really close to those kids, then you might want them there, and therefore it kind of changes how you see your wedding.
Yeah.
And that might be dependent on when you're getting married in relation to when your friends got married.
Yeah.
Because if your close friends got married 5 years ago,
Yeah.
they're probably in that childbearing age,
Yeah.
or that childbearing period.
Yeah.
So there are probably going to be children, and you might therefore be like, look, I'll just invite the kids just because it'll be easier.
Yeah.
DIY pizza doesn't sound like something I'd want at a wedding. That just sounds like a mess. Is that what she said happened?
Maybe I read it wrong. Made it kid
What
friendly.
could you have read that then became DIY pizza?
I thought it said made their own pizza, but it said made it kid friendly with their own pizza and chips. So I think basically what she means is she got them kids meals. Good, because when I read that, I thought, are they decorating pizza on their table?
Okay, that's right. Okay, fine.
Okay, fine, that's fine. Someone else said, as a couple who have children, for a relative's wedding, the kids will always come.
I don't think that's your decision to make, love. What do you mean they will always come? You're going to bring them regardless of whether they're invited or not. Just why would you do that? Like, why would you knowingly bring your children somewhere
People
that you
have
know
done
they're not
that.
invited?
Oh my God, people have done that, and we've had to go and find extra seats, and the couple are fuming, but we can't say anything, and like, just don't do that, guys. If you haven't been invited, if your kids haven't been invited, or if you've turned down and you've declined the RSVP, don't just think, you know what, I'm going to turn up now because I've got a free Saturday again. Like, please just respect what you've told the couple.
Yeah.
Because also weddings aren't like what they were like 50 years ago or even 20 years ago. Like, things are very much done like per person, per seat. It's named. It's not just like X plus family, here you go, have a table. Like, those days are gone, long gone. This person said, had an abroad wedding, kids were included for daytime events, and then my sister and I organised nannies for the evening events so that we could go because kids weren't invited to the evening, and actually it worked really well because it meant in the daytime we could go to the pool and day events as a family, but in the evening have that time to not have them there. Yeah,
see, this is, we didn't touch on this last week, but children and destination wedding is a very difficult thing to navigate.
Yeah.
Because, it's not just one night off from the kids and you can leave them with a grandparent or a nanny. This is normally a multi-day affair, and that's obviously more tricky to kind of put your children somewhere. And also like people, there's one thing kind of leaving your children and you could still get back within an hour or two.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to be in a different country to their children, which makes loads of sense, right?
Yeah.
And so that is quite tricky if you're then going to invite the kids to a destination wedding. I mean, it sounds like that particular wedding, it worked out well.
Yeah.
But, the idea that you can invite children to another country to your wedding and then sort of put restrictions is quite difficult. And if you are going to put restrictions, you then therefore need to kind of provide the resources to be able to allow it to be kid-free. Like in the reception, if you're going to say no kids at the reception or kids after 10 p.m, blah, 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 you then need to organise a nanny and like make it really, really easy for the family to be like, actually, okay, they've made it work. Like they've thought about this.
Yeah.
They've got somewhere for the children to be. Mm-hmm. You've, given contact details. You've given them options of like, I don't know, food choices for the children or entertainment options, something so that they feel like their kid is not an afterthought. Yeah. And you really looked after them.
Yeah. So basically in this instance, do you feel like you need to cover the costs of a nanny for a destination wedding or like nanny services?
If you're going to say for certain events they can't come, yes, 100%.
Fine. Yeah. I guess that's hard for parents to then have to pay for these additional things that they
because, destination weddings in and of themselves are very expensive. And I say this all the time with destination weddings. It is not fair to just expect people to come to your wedding and then and for them to be grateful that they're just at your wedding. Yeah. Because they have given up time way more than they would in the UK or wherever their base country is. Yeah. To come to your wedding. So you need to make it as appealing to them as possible because this is now their holiday. Yeah. So as it would be if they went on holiday, it just needs to be like enjoyable because you're making them go to this dinner on that day, this lunch on that day, this, that. And then you're suddenly like, oh, actually, even though you're here on a family holiday, your children aren't allowed because that family wouldn't have gone to a dinner if their children weren't allowed. Yeah. Right? Fine. Yeah.
I do like that idea though. If you couldn't not invite kids to a destination wedding because you've got too many kids in your family and friend group, but you didn't want every event to feel like there's 30 kids around, I do like the idea of having a nanny creche service, and fine if you cover it, then that's fine. But that way it's also nice for parents to be able to let their hair down. The only issue that sometimes can arise from that is if parents don't feel comfortable leaving their kids with, because some parents might not, right? Like leaving their kids with a in a different country with a nanny or crash service that they're unfamiliar with, like some parents might be fine, some parents might not be.
Yeah, agree. But then that goes back to kind of planning way ahead, right?
Yeah.
So you as the couple, if you're planning way ahead and you're saying, look, I don't want children at the reception, you then need to voice that and communicate that to the people who are being invited.
Yeah.
And be very explicit and be like, look, this is the plan, this is the itinerary. There are no kids at the reception, but we're going to organise this.
Yeah.
If the guests then don't want to come, then don't come.
Yeah.
Like I said last week, you are to some extent agreeing to the terms and conditions of the bride by coming to the wedding. You just are.
Yeah.
Like that you might find them unreasonable, and if they're so unreasonable that you just don't agree with them, then don't come.
Yeah.
You know, you're not obliged to go to anybody's wedding.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go, everyone can make their own choices.
I do also think that when you have kids, it's, how do I phrase this? Like, no one's going to argue with you using that as an excuse. I'm not saying that it's not a valid excuse, but I'm saying it's going to be hard for the bride or groom to argue with it, because you just can't argue if someone's like, I'm so sorry, but I can't because of the kids. Whether you agree with that or not as the couple, you're not going to sit there and now argue points about how you should leave your kids or how, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Compared to like other excuses like work or, I don't know, annual leave or whatever it is. Like, I feel like you're more likely to try and reason with them. Whereas with kids, I think everyone understands people have boundaries.
Yeah.
So I also feel like exactly as you said, if you're not going to go and follow what they've said, then just don't go.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one said, there were loads of kids at a wedding I went to. The DJ then turned it into a kids' party, drove all the adults off the dance floor. That's my worst nightmare.
Who is your DJ? Why did they do that?
In my head, I wasn't at this wedding, but I'm imagining like the kids all doing the hokey cokey and like, I don't know, like just like, I would be if I was the bride and groom at that wedding, I'd be mortified. I was going to say, unless maybe as a bride and groom it was your children, but even if it was your children, like, this isn't a kid's birthday. And that's why when we mentioned last week's episode, yes, if you've got loads of kids and you want to have entertainment, that's fine, but you don't want your wedding to feel like a kid's birthday party.
I disagree with what you just said, by the way.
Why?
You just said that if the bride and groom themselves have had kids before, so it's their own kids, they are well within their right to make it a kid's birthday, if that's what they want. Just because you don't think that fits, I don't know, the Pristine Events brand. If somebody has kids, their life might revolve around those kids. Yes, they're getting married, but they might want it to be like a family affair. Yeah. And so they have like silly music or kids' music. That's their decision to make. Yeah. Your mouth is saying yes, but the rest of you is saying something else.
Well, I just mean like then you didn't really need to have a wedding for it. You could just have...
That's their decision. Like anyone can have a wedding what they want, right? Like people have like joke weddings. I know you can't really comprehend that, but have you not seen like... Not Married at First Sight. What's the other one?
Oh, Don't Tell the Bride.
Don't Tell the Bride.
I hate all those weddings on there.
We should do it. Don't Tell the Bride. That'd be so funny.
What, you just plan everything? Can I turn up?
Yeah.
No, I couldn't do that. I'm too type A. No, fine. If you want it to be kids' birthday party vibes, that's fine. I just feel like if you see loads of kids on the dance floor as a DJ, which most good DJs know, like you shouldn't then think, oh, I know, this is going to be a real crowd pleaser, and then put on like Baby Shark. I don't like, it's just a different vibe. Okay, someone said, kids are part of the family and shouldn't be made to feel excluded. I made separate kids' favours to make them feel special at wedding events. My daughter wasn't invited to a wedding, so we didn't go either.
You know what this makes me think of? I've said this to you recently, right? This is quite sad, actually. When most people grow up in a very kind of typical family unit, right? Mm-hmm. There's parents and there's kids. Mm-hmm. And as you grow older and the parents become a lot older and their kids get married and then have kids, their unit suddenly becomes them and their children, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And I mean, that's a general point that we were discussing the other day, which is like sad and interesting. And like, you know, once we get older and have kids, suddenly our unit becomes that. Mm-hmm. And then your parents are no longer really part of that unit. Okay. So that point there they're making is that, you know, they're my family. Mm-hmm. Would you say that about your parents?
What do you mean?
Would she say, my parents aren't invited to the wedding? But at one point they were their unit, right? That is still also their family. So if the couple have no relationship with those people, whether that's the kids or their parents, why should they be invited? I'm being kind of facetious here. But my point is, you know, they know you. Yeah. That's why they're inviting you. Yeah. Yes, that is your baby. Yeah. And that is great that you have a baby. Yeah. But if they've never met the baby, they don't really know the baby. They've never had a relationship with the baby. Yeah. It is their wedding. Yeah. They can make that decision.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to come, then don't come.
Well, she made
You
it
can't.
clear
Yeah,
she
but
didn't
yeah,
wanna
exactly.
go.
You can't just be like, they're my family.
Yeah.
Your parents are your family.
Yeah.
Your siblings are your family.
Yeah.
There's those people who were at one point your nucleus core family.
No, that's a good point. That is a good point. I
You might have a dog that's really like you could consider your dog family.
We do. We really do.
I'd like to think you wouldn't get butthurt if
Our
you
dog's
didn't.
coming
Someone
to
didn't
the
invite.
wedding though.
Yeah,
Well,
but
not
like
our wedding, my sister's wedding, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yay. No, that's a really good point. I assume, like most parents, maybe it's to do with not feeling comfortable leaving them yet. They haven't spent a night away from them. I don't know how old this child is, or children are, but yeah, it's hard to
The
say.
child's like 24.
Okay, this is pretty genius. This person said, my sister-in-law, went to a wedding where kids were given chocolate cake during speeches, which I assume she went on to say, which I think was genius, because I actually do think that's genius, because kids love cake. I didn't realise how much. I saw your niece the other day eyeing up the carrot cake and like was obsessed with it, like following it around, wanted more and more. So actually, if you want kids to be really quiet in the speeches, that's so genius. Just hand out little chocolate cakes to them all.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good idea.
Should we try it out on our next wedding? When is that?
Well, we're going to bring our own cake.
We'll tell the couple. When is that? I think it's on the 26th. Right, let's ask them.
Nah, but these days I just don't think you can just sort of. I don't. Whilst there are kids' meals, I just think people are quite weird about their children having sugar.
Yeah, true.
And I don't think. I mean, as long as you like tell them before.
Yeah.
But then what if like other guests are asking for the chocolate?
That also happens as well. Sometimes guests will ask for the pizza and the chips, and I'm
Have
like,
they really?
yeah, and I'm like, no, that's just the kids' meal.
I've seen them ask for chips.
Yeah, I'm like, but that's just the kids' meal. Yeah, it's not like this isn't just like a order a la carte. What you feel
the
like.
worst, right, is when the kids' meals are for the kid. I don't know how they've specified it, but for the kids' meals, the couple have told us we did that wedding. It was really annoying actually because it wasn't a seated meal, a seated event.
Yeah.
It was they had food stalls and food trucks.
Oh yeah.
But then they said, if kids want a meal, we've told them to come and find us. And I'm like, but we're not the caterers.
Yeah.
So these random parents just like finding us out of nowhere, being like, hello, can I get a portion of the chips? We were told to speak to you about the kids' meal. I'm like, fine, whatever. Went into the kitchen and sorted it out. But then, what was classified as a child or a kid suddenly became like 15, 16-year-olds. And I'm like, no, the couple said there were like 5 of you who were under 10 who were getting kids' meal. They're like 15, 16, like teenagers who were asking for like children's food. And I'm like, no, you're like adults. Like you wouldn't order for the kids' meal at a restaurant.
Yeah.
So like I'm not gonna like go to the kitchen and just put in like a
chicken nuggets.
Just eat the whatever food that's there.
Someone said, limited kids at the wedding and in capital letters, no kids at the reception. I think that's a good compromise, particularly if you're having a wedding and a reception on a different day. If you feel like it's rude to not invite kids, invite them to the wedding and then don't have any for the reception. And then that, unless it's babies in arms, and that can be like your adults only soiree.
Yeah, but I could also see it the other way around, right? Because a reception, aside from like the entrance and the speeches, is a party atmosphere.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so if there's noise and a bit of like movement and running around, once the party starts, I don't think it's a massive deal because it's not going to detract from what's going on. But for the most part, a civil ceremony or a religious ceremony should be a silent, serene atmosphere.
Yeah.
And that can very easily be ruined by children.
Yes.
So I could see it both ways. It's probably weirder to invite the kids to the reception and not to the wedding. But I could still see it both ways.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. This person said they invited kids and there was a specific area for them with entertainment and buffet, which is interesting. So they have their own little kids buffet in an area, and said sometimes I would use a babysitter. I knew that they'd get fed up at the events and it's not fun for anyone, which is true. Because actually, if you think about a wedding, it's not very interesting for kids. Like if there was nothing else, if they couldn't run around, if they couldn't, play with the other kids out loud, if they couldn't just explore, it is boring for them to sit through an hour and a half. Like it is like a lot of the adults don't even like sitting through an hour and a half long ceremony. Like the amount of time they have to drag some uncles back to their seats because they're all like chatting in the aisleway. So I feel like I get it. Similarly, a drinks reception isn't that fun. Reception maybe a little bit because there's music and there's lights and stuff going on. So I think by having a separate area for them, like we talked about last time, is just I think it's good. And they have the option then if they want to go there or not. Someone said, I understand both sides, but the couple don't want disruptions. But also not all people have access to childcare, so there won't be anyone to look after the child. Some people also feel like if you're not inviting kids, then why should we bother attending? Which I don't think is the right attitude to have if that is how people feel.
I think the problem is, right, I think people sometimes struggle to think of from other people's perspectives, whether that's the couple thing, like seeing it from somebody with kids'
Parents,
perspective,
yeah.
or vice versa.
Yeah.
Like the parents with kids thinking about the couple's perspective. They just can't put themselves in other people's shoes, and they're just like, how could you not invite my child?
Yeah.
But quite easily,
Yeah.
your child is adding nothing of value to the wedding. That's why.
No, that's me. Not adding nothing of value. Because
You want, like, if you don't have a relationship with someone's child,
yeah, it's like inviting
right,
it's
like inviting a stranger.
Yeah.
Okay, but this stranger could scream at any moment and run down the aisle.
Yeah.
Right. Like when I say not of value, I'm not saying they're not of value in life.
Yeah.
I'm saying at the wedding they're providing no value.
Yeah.
Because you're not happy necessarily to see them. You're not going to chat to them. They're not going to like bring good vibes. That's what I mean by value.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not that surprising why you may not want them there.
Yeah. No, it's so true. It's so true. This person said, recently went to a wedding where the baby came and we as parents felt more relaxed. Had a great time. Baby is 6 months, slept through the whole reception and civil ceremony. And I as a mum made sure the baby was quiet for the couple. We also this weekend went to an event where the baby wasn't invited and we were on edge the whole time and meant that we had to leave the party earlier and we couldn't enjoy our time. I think new parents are very mindful these days to keep their kids in check and not to ruin someone's big day.
Yeah, I mean, she sounds like a pretty good wedding guest.
Yeah.
But
5 out of 5 or
unfortunately,
10 out of 10
my
for you.
friend, not everyone is like you and keeps their children in check. But yeah, I mean, that's a fair point, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you want to invite your friends with kids, not invite their children, but have them physically present, but mentally elsewhere?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or invite their kids, might go home a little bit early, but whilst they're there, they're taking turns, enjoying themselves, or one person's designated driver / babysitter, the other one's having a good time, but they're both there.
Yeah.
And they're happy, they're not offended.
Yeah.
It's a difficult decision to make.
It's so
but
hard. Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, the fact that she was conscious enough to be like, made sure that the baby, like, if the baby would sleep, would leave if she was very aware that she would, the baby wouldn't make any noise during key moments. I think that's what you need, and I think we don't see a lot of that, if I'm being honest, for weddings that we go to.
Yeah. No, I don't want to be rude to like the guests of the weddings that we've done, because you'll only remember the babies and children who are being a nuisance.
Yeah, true.
You're not going to remember
the
child in the corridor with their dad because they've taken them elsewhere to
be
looked after, right? We're only going to remember like the terrors.
The kids like running down the aisle, trying to walk down run after the bride. Yeah, no, it's true. I'm just thinking about the child that was belly flopping on the mandap and then throwing the petals in the air, and the dad was just watching and I had to go and take him off the mandap. Yeah, I'm thinking about those children. But like you said, they're not, I'm not saying every child's like that at all, but they're the ones that stick out in my mind, because there are lots of parents like this person who is obviously very mindful and will do the right thing. This person said, I don't see why having kids at weddings is an issue. It's up to the parents to be responsible. That's where the issue is, because sometimes they are and sometimes they're not.
So yeah, but that's such a... It's up to the parents, yes, okay.
But like,
the couple are the ones spending tens of thousands of pounds on their wedding, if not more. So they're well within their right to make decisions that hopefully will allow them to have the day that they imagine.
yeah,
And not just hope that their friends who have kids or their relatives who have kids are going to hopefully on that day look after their children.
Also, there's only a few moments of the day that you really need to, like, more than anything, be watching your child. Like,
entrances
and speeches and first dance. That's it. It's not like saying for 12 hours of the day they cannot leave your side. You cannot let go of them. So if you cannot watch them for those 3 or 4 key moments,
you
then
shouldn't be able
you
to
should.
have children.
Yeah.
Oh, right, sorry.
I was gonna say
I thought we were doing that cute thing where we finish each other's sentences.
I'm gonna say you shouldn't come, or like you need to really remind yourself, just because you've left this period of your life when you're not bothered about weddings anymore, like you said, this is still someone's like biggest day of their life, and for most brides, you've really thought about your entrance. So as much as kids are cute, you don't want them running down the aisle when you're walking down. Like we had that the other day. There were 3 kids that just before the groom walked in, ran across and were playing it with each other, even though we told them to sit down earlier. They had just, I don't know, decided that was the time they wanted to start playing again. So you don't want that. And I think it's fair as a couple for you to be annoyed if that happened to you. I'd be fuming.
I know, I can hear it in your voice.
I'd be fuming, like, no matter who, even if it was my like niece or nephew or like a child that I had a really good relationship with. So I just feel like everyone needs to do their part in the wedding. And as parents, just for those 3 or 4 key moments, I just need you to lock in on your children. I'll do one last one. It says, we attended our first child-free wedding this summer. It was difficult for my in-laws to take as there were a few more immediately related kids there. However, we all absolutely loved it. Our kids are 10 and 6. They didn't know the groom personally. They never would have made it till midnight. They would have picked through the food. We thoroughly enjoyed the kids-free evening and really commended the couple for making it one to remember. That's sweet.
See, that's really sweet. That's a really good guest. You know, someone who's clearly understanding the situation, that there might be some kids who are invited to the wedding and others who aren't.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is a really difficult balance and like very difficult to actually draw that line, right? Is it siblings and their kids? It's like siblings' kids. Is it first cousins' kids? Is it kids that we have a good relationship with? It's tough, right? Because not everyone necessarily falls under the same bracket. You might have a first cousin with a kid.
Yeah.
Who you're close with.
Yeah.
And another first cousin with a kid that you've never met.
Yeah.
How do you
so
like
tough.
make that decision?
I don't think you can.
Yeah, I think you have. I kind of think if they're the same level of relation or the same level of closeness, you kind of have to have a blanket rule because people can become quite sensitive. And it sounds like this person was really like understanding, like, you know, it is what it is. There are other relatives' kids there. But...
Yeah. But it sounded like they had a good time. And sometimes you need an excuse. Again, I'm not a parent, so I don't want to say things with my chest. But I do think sometimes you need an excuse to let your hair down.
Yeah, but I think it helps that those kids are 10 and 6.
Yeah, rather than
which I
babies.
think is quite a good age. Like they could go to a sleepover.
Yeah.
At somebody else's house. Like that could be quite fun. But if you know, if they're like both under 5, that's tough.
Yeah. Or less, like under 3. That's really tough.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got one last one because I just found it. This person said, my friend had a small wedding due to pregnancy and invited me and my 3-month-old, but not my husband, to the ceremony only, not the wedding lunch. The wedding was on the other side of the city, meaning I'd have to travel 2 hours by public transport to get to the venue with the baby. I had to decline as I couldn't justify going to the ceremony for an hour while spending up to 4 hours travelling back and forth, and the bride understood my reason for declining the invitation. I've also been to plenty of weddings where kids have had activity bags handed out to them so it keeps them busy during the ceremony, and it's worked out really well. At some of those weddings, mine included, there's been a room or area specifically dedicated for kids to play in. I've also been to a wedding when I've been 2 months postpartum and there was no place to breastfeed my baby, so I had to feed in my car and then went home halfway as I got fed up of having to feed every few hours. It's quite stressful, actually. You forget, like...
That was a really long story. I didn't really, like, remember all of it. But the part that I latched onto was this lady was invited with her 3.5-month-old baby, but her husband wasn't invited.
Yeah.
What has the husband done to that bride and groom that he wasn't invited, but this person who's been on the earth for 3.5 months was invited? Like, how have you, as a bride and groom, met the 3.5-year-old and not met the 3.5-month-old, and he's made a better impression on the bride and groom than the husband did?
I don't know. Unless...
It would have been easier to just invite the husband, because it sounds like it was a logistical nightmare carrying around a 3.5-month-old to try and attend this wedding, right?
Yeah, actually, maybe they should have just invited her, because then she could have left the 3.5-month-old with the husband.
Well, I mean, you still, just because the baby's invited doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah,
I don't think a couple of them were dying to see the 3.5-month-old. Or maybe they are, actually. I don't know.
I don't know where you got 3.5, by the way. It's 3 months old. But
right.
And then I think on the point of going to the wedding being 2 months postpartum, that's actually quite tricky if you're like breastfeeding and like you need room for that. Like actually you forget about all of that stuff. Like we obviously get asked about baby changing facilities, which we always know, depending on the venue that we're working at, but you forget about rooms to feed and stuff. And actually now when they said that, I have thought about a few instances where I've had that.
Yeah,
like
where they've said,
parents
do you have a room that we can
and sometimes we
breastfeed in?
Give them like the
Our
supply room,
yeah,
and we'll just tell no one to go in there because you forget that they need that. So that's actually really important. If you know any really young, like breastfeeding mums or really young babies, just make sure you've thought about a place for them to breastfeed. And if you do those little things, they will feel really grateful.
Yeah, so grateful.
Yeah,
and like they'll make the extra effort to stay later.
Yeah.
And have a good time.
Yeah.
But if they just feel like they're not thought of, and
Yeah.
I get it, right? Like a wedding has so many different things to think about.
Yeah.
There are so many different things to think about, but yeah, if you really kind of think, if there's a guest who has a specific need and you've catered to that need,
Yeah.
they will love it.
Yeah. Preach. It's a bit like when people do weddings on people's birthdays and then they do little things to show that they haven't forgotten that, whether they bring out a cake or they put a little present on their nameplate. It's just those things that will make that person be like, oh, you've actually, it's your day and you're really busy planning it, but you've actually still thought of me. Like, you've made such a big effort, so I'm going to make a massive effort back for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyways, that's a wrap. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Please like, follow, subscribe for more.